Time to fight fear with faith. Jody Paar is a survivor who is no longer staying silent. She and her guest will fuel you up so you too can fight fear. Uplifting and inspirational stories that will rock you to your core. We don't tiptoe around the truth. We steamroll it in a bold way. This is your life, and now is the time to start living it. Get ready for the Faith Over Fear podcast with Jody Paar. Now, welcome Jody Paar to inspire you.
Hey guys, welcome back to Faith Over Fear. I'm so glad that you guys are joining in today. I have a very special guest. She is a singer-songwriter. She's absolutely amazing. I love following her. I love keeping up with her. She has lots of different platforms that you can follow her on. Emily Elgin is amazing, absolutely amazing. And I'm so excited to have her on my podcast because we talk about different types of fear. And I wanted to kind of talk about some fear that maybe hasn't been mentioned in the past of becoming, or chasing your dream and becoming who you've always wanted to be. And so, Emily, I love you. I am going to turn it over to you. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to do a really quick, hold on, let me back them up. I want to do your bio real quick. It says that you're an Oklahoma native, is on a mission to create authentic, thought-provoking music that earns a place in the hearts and minds of the people who listen to it and see her perform it live. And she is the real deal, y'all. She really is the real deal. A horsewoman, rancher, musician, loyal friend, romantic, goofball. Yes, this woman laughs a lot at herself and at this crazy thing we call life. Music is the medium she uses to paint beautiful canvases that we can all relate to from a deeply personal space. I love that so much. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to you, Emily. Thank you so much for being here.
Jody, thank you so much for having me. This is so fun. And I love any opportunity to just share my story to help other people, because I really believe that's what we're all here for at the end of the day, is to lift each other up and help each other along the way in everybody's own individual journey. Absolutely. And this is it's a different kind of journey being in the music business.
Yeah, I bet. So tell me, like, when's the first time you felt fear? Like, when is the first time it's that you know, I don't know if I can do this, really scared feelings of fear happen to you?
So I would say when I went completely full-time with music, I've always either waited tables, been a bartender, or trained horses. So those have been my three staple ways of making money. And I'm very familiar with all three of those. And I know how the world works, and I'm very educated. I know how to do that job. Well, when I first moved to Nashville, the obvious goal is to do music full time, and that's your job, and you're self-employed, and you get to do it. Well, I was a waitress at a little restaurant in downtown Franklin, which is just south of Nashville. It's called Gray's on Main. And I was a waitress there for about 3.5 years. And whenever the time came that I had the opportunity to move forward and be self-employed, own my own company, be my own boss, jump into this thing feet first, I freaked out.
Yeah.
It was so terrifying to me. And not just from a monetary level, because there's so much money involved, but from a level of those negative voices in your head that say you're not good enough. You cannot do this. You don't know anything about running your own business. What are you thinking? You're going to have panic attacks. You're going to have overwhelming anxiety. You cannot move forward with this. You're not talented enough. You're not pretty enough. What about your weight? What about, all of these things that go into it. And it actually is giving me goosebumps right now, just talking about it and kind of reliving it. I found myself in a place mentally that I have never been in my entire life. And it was very scary, but I made a decision. I've been a fighter my whole life. I've overcome a lot, and we all get dealt cards in life, but it's how you play them and how you deal with your situation and your circumstance that sets you apart from other people. And if I would have just thrown up my hands and laid down and said, no, I can't do this, it's too scary, I wouldn't be where I am today. I've been self-employed for 2 years and I get to make music for a living. It's amazing.
Yes.
It's amazing. I've learned a lot about running my own business. I've got 3 business partners that are phenomenal people that are extremely knowledgeable. They're way smarter than I am, and I'm so thankful for them. But if I would not have stepped forward in faith into that fear head on, I would have regretted it for the rest of my life.
So let's talk about you moving from Oklahoma to Nashville.
Sure.
Tell me how that came about.
It's something that I have wanted to do for a very long time, but I was scared. I never thought I was good enough. I've always struggled with these feelings of not being good enough. And I really didn't understand that I had been struggling with that until I started doing a lot of deep self-work.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that those thoughts were there and they had always been. And excuse me, I had been in a relationship with someone and we broke up, and I was extremely unhappy. I'd been unhappy for a long time, just because when you are being called to do something and when you're being called to live the life that you were created to live and you're not doing it and you keep ignoring it, you're like, I can't see you. No. I'm just going to keep ignoring this and do this other thing that doesn't make me quite as happy, but it'll get me by.
Mm-hmm.
You become unhappy. Your soul isn't being fed. So when I finally answered that, I wasn't scared to come to Nashville. I ran to Nashville. I couldn't get here fast enough. And that knowledge has helped me a lot, especially in the scary times since I've been here, because I've needed that comfort and that encouragement that I felt to help push me through the scary parts and the tough stuff. Because, you know, regardless of where you're at in your life, the rain never stops, but neither do the rainbows.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much. And I think it's
Mm-hmm.
important for our listeners to know that we all go through those times, especially when their
Absolutely.
mind is telling you a zillion
Mm-hmm.
reasons why not to. And fear
Mm-hmm.
is trying to cover you, and fear is trying to tell you it's never going to happen. And people are going to look at you and be like, why are you doing this? And
Oh,
you have to
yes,
push past all of that. It's about
you
your
do.
dream. And this was your
You do.
dream. This is what
Absolutely.
was down deep inside your heart, and it's what you always knew you wanted to do. So I
Absolutely.
love that.
There, you touched on what people, just people in general. There's so many naysayers. When I first moved to town, I had so many people say, well, what's your plan B for when this doesn't work? And I would laugh and I would say, this is plan B. Plan A didn't work. You know,
Right.
I've gone through all the other letters too. I should have started with plan B in the first place. So sometimes people don't understand your journey. They don't understand your walk, and they don't have to, because it's not their journey. It's not their walk. And having validation, and if you feel like you need validation from other people, you need to find new people that will give you the validation that you need for your dreams. Surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, more successful than you, and that will lift you up to continue, going down the path that you would like to go down.
Yeah, definitely. So when you step on stage, was that something that just came very natural? At what age did you start singing, and did you ever have that stage fright? That's one of the top fears that people have, is public speaking or public singing in front of a big group. So what was it like the first time that you stepped on stage? And how old were you?
The first time that I can remember getting on an actual stage, I was probably 7, I think. I sang at a talent show at my elementary school, and I sang "I Just Can't Wait to Be King" from the Lion King soundtrack.
I love that.
I just was up there singing "Everybody Look Left, Everybody Look Right."
I got you beat. My first solo was "I Wish I Was an Oscar Mayer Wiener." And I can't believe I'm actually being honest about that right now. But I was so excited that I actually got a solo in the choir. And That was mine.
There you go. There you go. And you did it well, I'm sure. I'm sure. You know, it's just one of those things when I still remember the crowd clapping and feeling physically like someone hit me with just this like overwhelming sense of feeling that I still can't explain, but that has become very familiar to me anytime I get on a stage. I love it. I was born to be on that stage. And I used to get made fun of a lot. People would say, oh, Emily's just looking for attention. She's just looking for this or that. But when you know where your home is, that's where you go.
Yes.
And there are just some people that can't understand that. And it has nothing to do with seeking attention. That's just where my soul flies. Yes. And it's a part of me that is fulfilled every time I'm up there. It's just this indescribable feeling. And it doesn't matter if it's one person or 1,000 people. It's still the same thing.
Yeah, I love that. I love that quote that says, and I don't know who wrote it or said it, but it's the same ones who didn't believe in you are going to be the ones that said, I used to know you.
That's very true. It's so very true.
Isn't it? I'm sure you've experienced that with the more that your career has taken off. Now you've got those people going, I believed in you the whole time.
The whole time.
Like, really?
And I'm like, huh? You know, that was something that bothered me at first. And like I said, I've got 3 business partners that are just incredible people and really guide me a lot. I call them my training wheels. I'm like, y'all don't let me fall off the side of this mountain that I'm trying to ride up. But we talked about that at one point because I said, you know, I've got these people that used to make fun of me and now they're kind of coming out of the woodwork saying, well, Emily is my friend and Emily this and that. And it hurt my feelings. It kind of made me mad. I didn't understand it. But they said something along the lines of, you know, Emily, just because people can't see where you're going at first doesn't mean that they won't support once you get there. And that's what you want, you know, and everybody is on a different journey. And who am I to hold their journey against them from where they were at that point in time? That's not my business. My business is me getting up every day, working as hard as I can, trying to be better mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally than I was the day before. Their journey is on them.
Yes.
You know, I'm just here to do the best that I can and set the best example that I can.
I love that so very much. So when you met your business partners, when you were ready to go forward and you knew this, hey, I'm giving up everything else, I'm moving forward. How did your business partners come about? How did all that, because I always say, God already lines everything up for us. We just have to walk into it, right?
100%.
Yes. So tell us about that.
100%. So I'm a big believer also on, I call it the alphabet system, A to Z. So obviously I want to get to Z, right? That's the end goal. But you have to go through all of the letters in order to get to Z, because if you don't have the tools in your tool belt to handle Z. You might think you do at A, but then you get to B and you're like, oh my Lanta, I am so glad I'm at B right now and not G or, you know, further down the line. So like I said, I was waiting tables at Gray's on Main, and I just knew that place was magic. And I would come into work every day and market myself. So I would be waiting tables, but I would talk to anyone that would listen and tell them my story. Reading the room though, you know, I'm not going to bug people, but if they're interested in my story, I'll talk the brick off a wall and just tell them all about me. And these 3 people started coming in. They had a marketing business in downtown Franklin. And they would come in and I waited on them for several years, just got to know them. They got to know me. And I did not realize that they had been watching me. I had no idea. And some days I would come in dragging because I had to be at work at 10 a.m. and I got home at 5 from a gig that I drove 3.5 hours to one way and then had to be back. And and I'm not getting paid, you know, I was getting paid enough to cover my gas. and playing in smoky bars that you're just so, your eyes are burning and you're so stopped up, and smoke is not good for vocalists, and your voice is shot and you're just exhausted and you don't have any more to give, and you just pray about it and you just keep going. And they approached me, and to be honest, I thought it was I thought it was bullcrap. I was like, nope, been there, done that. I had a run in with a bad businessman when I first came to town. Learned my lesson. There are bad apples in every single business, and you have to be aware. So then they came to my show, and then they kept coming to all my shows, and even the little tiny ones at bars, they kept supporting me and said, we're serious. And I said, okay. And then they wrote up a contract and they emailed it to me, and I freaked out, and I called daddy, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the real deal. I need an attorney. It just went from there. And now we've been in business now for 2 years. I own a small company called Muddy Water Music with them. And it has been the biggest life-changing experience I've ever encountered in all aspects of the word.
I just love that, you talk to everybody, because Tim Story says you're always one conversation away from changing your life.
Yes.
And
that just gave me goosebumps. It's so true.
It's so true. You never know who you're talking to. So you could overlook somebody and not talk to them, and they could be the money behind supporting you, or
exactly.
And so by that one conversation that you had and just putting yourself out there, piqued their interest, and then they started watching you, and then that's so awesome. Emily, I love that.
Thank you. I think a lot of that has to do with your mindset. You can decide if you want to be jaded when doors close, because you're going to have so many doors slammed, not just closed nicely. I'm talking slammed so hard in your face, you will lose count. When I first came to town, I met a man, and I'm not going to name names because I'm not mad about what he did. I would have done the same thing, but I'm this brand new artist, and I'm so full of just life, and I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to make that record deal and get famous. And I don't understand any part of the business. And this man is a publicist for a very, very famous female country artist that's been around for a long time. And I was introduced to him, and the introduction went like this. Let's just call him Bob. Hey, Bob, this is Emily Elgin. She's a brand new artist in town. She's from Oklahoma, and she's going to be cutting a record here as soon as she can. And she's just really, wanting to take that next step and try to get a publishing deal. And Bob looks at me and he goes, oh, that's nice, and turns around and keeps talking to his friends. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. This is awkward and embarrassing and just all of the things. And I said, to his back, because he wouldn't turn back around, I said, well, it was nice meeting you, Bob. Thank you. And walked away. So you can get mad about those things, and you can get jaded, and you can get ugly and say, forget this, and I'm done, and these people are this or that or whatnot. But instead, I started taking emails at work. I would go to my tables, and at the end, I'd say, hey, if y'all are interested in following an up-and-coming artist, I'd love to take your email address. So I would get their email address, their name, where they're from, and then I would jot down little notes just about our conversation so that I would remember who they were. And then when I finally went full-time with music, I had hundreds of email addresses from people all over the world with specific notes on who they were. So I remembered every single one of them, and I just wrote them a little note saying, hey, check out my music. I did it. And all of them, I would say 95% wrote me back. And it's just about not giving up and cultivating those relationships and just being authentic and real and believing in yourself the whole way, even when nobody else does.
I love that so much. And it is so true that a lot of times people say, oh, wow, that was an overnight success, because all of a sudden people see you and you're just
Yes.
like, oh
Yeah.
no, that was like a 10-year success.
Yes.
You didn't see,
Yes.
it's kind of like a glacier. You don't see all
Right.
the pieces underneath it, or you don't see the rocky moments where every time you turn around, you're getting knocked down, you're getting hit again, you're crawling around on the floor trying to
Yes.
get up. But when you
Absolutely.
finally make it, then people are like, wow, where did she come from? And you're just like, I've been doing this thing for a long time.
They say, that's a saying here in Nashville, it takes 10 years to be an overnight success.
Yes.
It's so true. And people don't see there. Nobody knows that I have been on my kitchen floor in the fetal position, sobbing, just crying in a way that doesn't even sound human, because I am so at the end of my rope. But you just keep going. I had an opportunity when I worked at Gray's. I just came into the restaurant and was starting my shift. So I was getting my tables ready and setting them all up for the reservations for that night. And there was a man at one of the tables, and this was late in the afternoon, so nobody else was there. It was just this man and his wife and their daughter. And I was singing while I was setting up my tables, because that's just what I do. I sing all the time. So I was just humming some little diddly to myself. And I kept looking at him and I thought, man, that man looks so familiar. And then a friend of mine came up to me and she said, you know, that's Philip Sweet from Little Big Town. And I was like, oh, no. She said, yes. So I went up to them and said, hey, I'm a big fan. And that man spoke to me for 45 minutes. He did not have to do that. I just wanted to say hi. He talked to me for 45 minutes. He gave me so much advice that I had not heard from any other artist. And his wife was lovely too. She was like, Emily, do you want to get a picture? I said, heck yes. Are you kidding? But he told me, you know, talent out here, everybody's talented. It's how hard you work. And when you think you've worked as hard as you can, you work harder and you burn that candle from both ends until you have nothing left to burn. And every time I thought I have nothing left to burn, there was this little voice inside of me that was like, but do you really? Cry about it? We'll get up and talk about it again tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And that, I came home and I wrote down in my journal everything that he said to me. He came back for a birthday party later that evening with Luke Bryan and brought me upstairs with him and his wife and all of their friends and introduced me to Luke Bryan and said, Luke, this is Emily. She's a phenomenal singer. Just really talked me up. Yeah. And he didn't have to do that. And that's the type of artist that I strive to be. My flame is not going to shine any less bright by lighting someone else's and helping someone else along the way that is working just as hard.
Mm-hmm. It's so good. And that's so true. So many people get into comparison, and it's not about that will steal your joy so fast.
100%.
Frustrate you so fast. Just build each other up and support each other and love each other and help each other. And that's what it's all about in the end.
Absolutely.
So yes, thank you for sharing that. And honestly, Emily, I'm just so blown away by your story and what you've done. And
thank you.
It's so special. And I want you to give us a little treat.
I can do that.
And play us a little song. And
sure.
Yes, because, you know, I want everybody to hear you, because the first time I heard you, I actually met Emily through a mutual friend, and we just completely hit it off right out the gate. And then I heard her sing and I was like, wow. Like, and I got on iTunes and downloaded all your album on iTunes and just
thank you for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, we support each other. You know, sisters need to support sisters. And that's why these podcasts are so important to me. It's because I want people to know, if you're going through that time in your life where you feel like every time you turn around, something's knocking you down. Every time a door opens, another one slams shut. Like, we've all been through that. And that's just steps to success. You know, I feel like God puts us through trials to get us to the triumphs, because he wants to see how serious you are about this. Is this really your passion? Do you really love this? Is this really what you want to do? Or, you know, are you just wanting to be like somebody else? And
Right.
so your actions have shown that in everything that you've done. And I believe that's why God has catapulted you to this level that he has now. So we're going to get you to do a song for us. And then
Sure.
we're going to let you tell everybody where they can buy your stuff, follow you, your website, all that good
Yeah.
stuff. But first, I want to hear you sing.
Okay. So this song, I'll explain a little bit about it real quick, and then I'll take these headphones out and set them over here so I don't get them all tangled. But this song, I wrote this about a year after I moved here to Nashville. And like I had said earlier, I had gone through a breakup before I moved here. And we just wanted different things in life. And I feel like sometimes just because you love someone doesn't mean you're supposed to be with them. And when God kept pushing me to end this relationship, I was heartbroken to every extent of the word, but I just had to trust that there was a bigger plan. And now, if someone would have told me 7 years ago I would be where I am today, I would have been packing my bags. What? Are you kidding me? You know, this is just, you just never know what the bigger picture is, because as humans, I feel like we just get that tunnel vision and we don't understand the whole picture sometimes. And that's really where your stepping out in faith comes in. But this is just a song about nostalgia and love and moving on and looking back fondly instead of bitterly. This is called Oklahoma Sunset. Rainy days and highways take me back in time. That old flame you lit is burned in my mind. Oh, I try to forget. Dancing to a live band on 309 White Street. Drunk on the effect of a lover's heartbeat. Oh, I tried to forget. Oh, I tried to forget. You and me on that old boat, summers on the lake. I felt every time you called me, baby. Oh, and the way the sky turned to violet when that Oklahoma sunset. I knew when I left you, needing something more. A bright light silhouette as they call for an encore. Some things you just can't do. They're too hard to forget. Like you and me on that old boat, summers on the lake. I felt every time you called me, baby. Oh, and the way the sky turned violet. That Oklahoma sunset. On you and me on that old boat, summers on the lake. I felt every time you called me, baby. Oh, and the sky turned violet. Oh, and the sky turned violet. That Oklahoma sunset.
Oh, so good. Girl,
Thank
you're
you.
talented. You are definitely blessed with a gift. Absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
So
Thank you
I
so
want
much.
to tell everybody how they can find you, how if you're in the Nashville area, they can come watch you. Um,
Yeah,
so let everybody know how they can keep in touch.
sure. So I'm on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and it's just Emily Elgin Music. And I'm on Spotify. You can buy the EP with the record on all streaming platforms, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify. It's on YouTube. However you get your music, you can get it there. And the title is This Woman, but you can just look it up under my name as well, which is Emily Elgin. If you want a hard copy CD for memorabilia, I don't know if you can see that. Is there a glare? Can you see my ring light?
Yep, you can see it.
Oh, there it is.
There you go. Yeah.
I have these for sale as well. You can find those on my website, emilyelginmusic.com. And as far as performances go, coronavirus, unfortunately, has slowed things down for live performances like it has for everyone. Everyone's really been affected by this, but we're going to get through it. And once we have more tour date information, that will be on my website, and it will be on all of my social media platforms as well. So we're really fingers crossed for a show in Oklahoma City this fall, if Corona wants to
Nice.
cooperate. Yeah. We'll see, but we're still working towards it too. But yeah, I'm also on TikTok, which is a lot of fun. That's just a platform that I have a lot of fun on, and I'll get on there and sing and do live videos as well.
Yeah, she's hilarious on TikTok. Like hilarious. You're like the only person I really follow on there. All right,
They're
guys.
so fun.
Yes, thank you so much, Emily, for being here. It has been an honor
Absolutely.
to have you.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome, of course. And thank you guys for listening and watching. My name is Jody Paar, JodyPaar. You can find me on social media under that name. Also, jodypar.com. I do life coaching. I also do a YouTube channel called Jody Paar. So you can find me under that name. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please rate, because when you rate, then it helps the viewership go up. So please, please, please give us 5 stars. And thank you so much for watching. Make sure to share. Talk to you later. Bye.